So you gonna take my shit. You gonna take half my shit that I didn't earn. You gonna take my shit. Okay. All right. That's the conversation. That's the statement that you hear when you go in your separate ways. I want half. And so that resonates with me when you think about someone saying, make sure you hit them with the prenup. So I was online and I got tagged in a lot of posts or whatever, but one of them resonated for me. And it was the one about Will and Jada Smith. And this is not about Will and Jada Smith. However, just thinking about how much assets Will has, think about them going their separate ways. And think about Jada saying, I want half of everything. Now, some people, rightfully so, would say that Will Smith is more successful than Jada Smith, that he has definitely had more success in Hollywood than Jada Smith. So would it be fair for Jada Smith to say half? So I just wanted to kind of break down some shit for y'all or whatever case be. Suppose somebody said, when they're leaving you, I want half your shit. I want half your shit. You earned it, but I want half of it. So it started to break down. I was listening to Meg Thee Stallion say, you know what, you got to protect your energy. And I was thinking, well, what about protecting your assets? How do couples protect their assets? How do you say, you know what, just because I'm separating from you don't mean you about to take my shit? And I said, you know what, a prenup, of course. Right? So my question to you guys is, how do you feel about prenup agreements? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think, you know what, these things are necessary? Do you think that this is more something that, you know, rich people do? Is this something you find in the urban communities? A prenuptial, is it necessary or unnecessary? So let's explore that. Let's have that tough conversation right now. I'm Mario J. This is Tough Love. And we're going to talk a little bit about prenuptial agreements. So suppose you meet somebody. You meet them at a club, you meet them at Walmart, you meet them at church. You just meet them out on a random, time out. And you meet them and y'all start vibing. Y'all start dating. If there's kids involved, you meet each other's children's, you meet the parents. You start hanging around each other. You get his wing, he gets your punani. Y'all loving life right now. Y'all living it up. And suppose you guys decide to say, you know what, I got potential, you got potential. Let's be together. Let's make this shit official. I want you, you want me, goddammit. Let's get it. And all of a sudden, boom, now a ring's involved. So now you done set the wedding date. Everybody's excited for you or whatever case to be. He had a business. You got a business as a female. And you guys to decide together that you want to put your assets together. Cool. You know what I mean? Cool. She got a business that's blossoming and booming. Everybody know her. He got a business that blossoming and blooming. Everybody know him. And it's like, okay, shit, we got this mega empire. So one thing leads to another. Let's say she cheats or he cheats or whatever case may be. And somebody says, I'm out of this motherfucker. I'm done. I want half. Now, during the course of the relationship, maybe your business was booming a little bit more than his business or vice versa. And maybe you was putting a little bit more work and time into building up your empire, collecting and growing your assets. So now at the end of the day, when you decide to separate, you have someone saying, I want half. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do now that you're in a predicament where you've grown together, you've gotten married, now you've combined your assets, and now you say, damn, I want to leave the situation. I want a divorce. How many people find themselves in a situation where if they leave, or they're too scared to leave because they know that their wife or husband is going to get half of their shit? So which leads me to this right here. When do you propose a prenuptial agreement? Like, when is that conversation appropriate to have? Like, you say, okay, hey, I'm going to ask you to marry me, but I'm also at some point in time going to ask you to sign this prenup that says you ain't getting my shit when we go separate ways. How many people right now would propose that within the first 30 days of dating someone? That if we decide to have a long-term relationship and get married, that I'm going to be asking you to sign a prenuptial agreement. And then another thing is, what do you put in a prenup? Suppose you ain't got shit to put in there. So you're a person that says, okay, I'm going to propose a prenup agreement, but I ain't got shit. And do you feel disrespected? Do you feel like the person doesn't trust you enough to be with you without signing a prenuptial agreement? And how many people would say that, hey, you know what, that shit right there, I ain't signing no prenup. I ain't signing no prenup. So let's look at some things. So it says it should be discussed prior to the marriage discussion. And I think right now, well, it's like, would you feel disrespected if someone says, hey, look, I love you, I care about you, but I'm not about to give you full access over my assets that I have now accumulated before we get married? So what do? How do you propose it? What type of conversation is that? Is that just a Netflix and prenup conversation, or is that like set some real time aside and really have that conversation about a prenuptial agreement? How many people would propose that their children do prenups? Now that you've lived a little bit, you're a little bit older, you're a little bit wiser, you've developed some things for yourself, and now would you teach your children, hey, having a prenuptial agreement is something that you should do? Now, inside the post that I read, it was some people saying, yeah, prenup is good or whatever case may be. But, some people said that they had the prenuptial agreement talk when they had the sex talk with their kids. Are you supposed to have a prenuptial agreement talk with your children? Is that just as important as the sex talk? I mean, it's birds, bees, prenup. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, ding, ding, wing, wing, poo nanny, icebox. I mean, whatever the nicknames you want to use. Do you have that conversation with your children at what age? At what age do you explain protect your assets? At what age do you say, hey, look, man, you might want to do this shit because it's going to help you in the long run? Is this a white thing? Somebody said on a post, in a comment, that a prenuptial agreement was a white thing. I'm just trying to figure out some shit, y'all. It is a prenuptial agreement. So for those that don't know what a prenuptial agreement is, basically what happens is the two individual parties, it could be male and male, female, female, male, female, vice versa. But it's two individuals mostly that say, we want to protect our assets. We want to keep all of the stuff that we came into this relationship with. So what they would do is normally go to a lawyer and get some paperwork drawn up, okay? The same way you would do a will. And you sit down and you list all your assets that you currently have at the time, the things that you're working on, the things that income comes in, okay? And you write that shit down, right? And you basically say, hey, look, if we go our separate ways, this is the stipulation. That means I leave with all of my assets, you leave with all your assets, and anything collectively that we do together, we split 50-50. Now, there are contingencies to this prenup. That means if somebody cheats, then they null and void the half that they get. Now, the prenup, of course, can be ordained different ways depending on, somebody said icebox. Icebox. So the prenup can be designed different ways based on who the people are involved, and it can be different contingencies set in place if someone cheats, if someone has a child out of wedlock, if someone dies. Like the prenup can be packaged a lot of different ways depending on the state. But a lot of people feel like having a prenup or presenting a prenup to their partner would be disrespectful. They would say, like, why am I marrying you if I can't trust you for the long term? Is a marriage like a business? How many people think a marriage is like a business? Latoya says it's not a white thing. It's a I got something to protect thing. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I think that if you've been working hard, you went to school, you hit the ground running, you're an entrepreneur now, you've grown your business, you've developed clientele, you're immaculate when it comes to keeping your records and your books and making sure that your customers get the product and services that they deserve. Why would you have someone rain on your parade? That means if you guys don't work out, If you guys don't work out and go your separate ways, now they're demanding work that they didn't do. Now they're demanding shares of companies that they did not help build. And I think it's unfair. I need y'all to share this. Y'all know what it is. Is that fair? Is that fair for someone to say, I want half of your shit? I want half of the dishes. You can't split the dog in half, but shit, I want to make sure my dog's protected. Because, they're growing those bonds too. So it's like, oh shit. So a lot of people say prenuptial agreements is found more in the white community, in white America. And I just wanted to find out how many African American people, how many black people, how many people other than Caucasian people actually exercise the usage of prenuptial agreements. You know someone that has a prenuptial agreement and it actually worked. I'm really curious, because all in the comments it was like, this is a white thing, this is a white thing, this is a white thing. And I was like, it's funny to me how when it comes to doing something that makes sense, when it comes to doing something that requires a certain level of rationale, for some reason, it's not a black thing. It's not a common sense thing. We make it like, oh, well, that got to be a white thing. That got to be something else. And I'm just like, dude, we got a lot of black smart people. You know what I mean? We got a lot of minority smart people. So why does it have to be a white thing? So I was just thinking that sometimes we could cut ourselves short by labeling things a certain type of way. Okay, Aaron says everybody should know about prenups. But they don't do their research until after the first marriage. That's a good point. But here's the thing. Who's teaching us about marriage? How many people actually was taught about marriage? It's a lot of people who feel that I need to do this, this, and this based on how my mom and my dad did it. And they could have been doing it all wrong. The mom could have been staying home all day. And women in today's society like to go out and get it. I know a lot of hustlers. I know a lot of boss females that actually have employees, that actually have an EIN, you know what I'm saying? So today's society is a bit different than how we were raised back in the day. So did we learn to positively communicate, to be consistent, to be loyal, to be respectful? Did we learn all of it? Did we learn everything we needed to learn from our parents to have successful marriages? And I can tell you, I think that's a great point that you said. A lot of people don't learn what they need to do until after their first marriage is dissolved. After they walk out their first marriage. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to be spontaneous when it comes to sex. They don't know how to treat their kids. They don't know how to actually have a career and a home life. So, they still, these are the type of people that still, got their girlfriends in their business, got their homeboys in their business. They don't know how to function together. So, yeah, I get it. So, with that being said, though, how many people grew up with parents that had a prenuptial agreement? All right. Somebody said there is definitely no rule book for marriage. Definitely. It's probably some books out there on marriage. I'm just saying that growing up, a lot of people don't get the 411 on what marriage should be. They get a feeling. They get some visuals every now and then. You might hear something, but there's no verbatim rule book for marriage. And I think for everybody, marriage is different. Some people don't even believe in marriage. They don't even believe in it. They say, hey, why do I need this piece of paper to define my love? Why do I need someone to tell me that's my man and that's my husband to make it real? To make it real. So if you don't believe in having a piece of paper, you don't believe in, oh, well, you got to wear a ring on your finger to say that you belong to somebody. If you don't believe in any of that, so why would you get a prenup? Why would a prenup be effective or whatever case it be? Why is protecting your assets important? They're saying, no marriage lessons. Yes, did we learn? So the fact of the matter is, this post was very interesting because, like I said, with the Will Smith and Jada thing, I was like, well, suppose she leaves and say, I want half your shit. I'm not as successful as you. We know you big time, Will. We know what you do, and I want half of your shit. Should she be entitled to it? If she didn't work as hard as he did, should she be entitled to half of his shit? Some people would say yes. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And then other people would say, well, she didn't earn it. How many people are being encouraged to protect their assets? A lot of us are encouraged to protect our energy, but it's like this. Our energy comes from the things that we do, the things that we surround ourselves with. Would you want to surround yourself with or be in a relationship with someone that can take all of your assets or half of your assets away? That's some scary shit. That's some scary shit. The legacy that you're building for yourself and your children, the things that you're doing on a daily basis, when you wake up early in the morning and you making those calls, or you taping up these products to send, you know what I'm saying, or you providing this service and X, Y, and Z, and your spouse ain't doing that. They could care less about what you're doing. It's like, okay, hey, I'll see you when you get back, or, you go ahead and do it, all that. Should you be punished for being a go-getter? Should you be punished for being a hustler? Should you be punished for being an entrepreneur? Should you be punished for being a boss? You're married to someone that has some type of potential, but they don't have what you have. They don't have the tenacity. They don't have the thought process. They don't have the leadership. They don't have the know-how. They don't have the willpower. So when you decide to leave, are you telling me that based on my hard work, the time and effort that I've been putting in, you should take half my shit? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. And I don't believe a prenuptial agreement is a white thing. I don't think it's a white thing. And if it is a white thing, all right, if someone says, yes, this is a white thing, well, goddamn it, I think that if you are a successful person, if you deem yourself to be a successful person in your eyes, and your society, the people that you deal with in your community deem you to be a successful person, I think you should protect not only your energy, but your assets, the things that you do to make yourself and your children successful. I think you should be protected. Let me look at some of these comments. It's going kind of fast. Protecting your assets are important because if your marriage ends badly, you don't want to have to share with someone what they didn't put in the same work as you. Exactly. Why the hell would you take a piece of my company? Why would you take shares of my company? Why would you benefit from my company? If I'm doing all the legwork and the groundwork and the sweat and the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't want to give you shit. If you going your way, you go your way. You go that way, I'm going to go this way, but you ain't coming back to get none of this shit. Huh? You ain't getting no ding ding from me, and you ain't getting no assets from me. That's a part of the assets, the ding ding. You ain't getting no punani from her or none of her business. That's her stuff. You see what I'm saying? I think that people are afraid to have the tough conversation and say, bruh, I'm going to protect myself. Before, during, and after. Before, during, and after. You have people that break up for all types of reasons. Every day. And for those times, you have people say, oh, I'm taking the dishes, I'm taking the couch, I'm taking the TV, I'm taking this, and this, and this. And it just be like, basically a snatch and grab. It be a looting. They be looting the house. They be looting the house. So the fact of the matter is, it's like, would you want something to identify, this is your shit, this is my shit? And at what point in time do people start to feel like, okay, well, is this petty? Is having a prenuptial agreement and writing down, this your TV, this my TV, this your dishes, this my dishes. Is that, do you guys see that as petty? Or do you say, hey, this my shit, don't touch my dishes, that's my cup, that's my goddamn cup, don't take my cup, you know I like that cup. That's my remote control. You didn't even have a remote control for the TV. You know you ain't had no damn remote control. So it's just like, is that petty to sit down and say, these are my assets. These are my physical things that I am going to keep, that I'm going to maintain. If you decide to do some fuck shit and we got to go our separate ways. Somebody says, Latoya says, I'm all for a prenup. I think you have to be smart about your prenup though. I don't think that you could be petty about it. Like you have to make sure that you have someone to really mediate something that's going to be fair on both parts. Because God forbid if you have children involved, let's say they have kids, you have kids, and for some reason they didn't have a lot of shit when you met them. So now you take away all your stuff, all your assets, and now they're left with these children. And some people might say, fuck them kids. Fuck them kids. Look, shit. If the kid didn't have a bed before, the motherfucker won't have a bed now. I'm telling you, people are ruthless. They ruthless. So you got to understand that. Make sure in that prenuptial agreement that things are outlined that's going to make sure that you have a certain standard and a certain way of living. You got to look at it. Somebody says, watch a movie called Jerk the Way He Left is how folks leave marriages. Listen, I think we've all seen some bad people, some bad breakups. I think we've all seen some extreme bad breakups. And social media is so good at highlighting those bad breakups. But here's the thing, what we don't get is the emotional side of that. We don't get, okay, well, she put everything in her name. So she took the living room, she took the bedroom, she took the dining room, and now we got this guy over here in this apartment, this empty apartment, because he had all this money tied up into the house, but for some reason he don't have enough money now to be on his feet. Or vice versa. You got guys that put everything in their name and the kids was hers, so now they leave, and now this woman is over here with the kids in this empty ass apartment. So we as consumers, because we're consuming all of this shit, watching it for our entertainment, but the people that's inside of the actual situation, that's who actually fucking face the burden. That's who actually have to deal with the problem. So if you don't have a piece of paper, some type of legal binding document that say this your shit, this my shit. So therefore, if they do some crazy shit, you can just call the police and say, hey, look, this is my shit. There's no way they should be taking my shit up out of here. Because you got to think about it. It's really a snatch and grab. If you guys are in a house, an apartment, y'all living together, you decided to get a bunch of shit together or whatever case may be, it's really who gets the U-Haul faster. Who got the fucking friends that's about that life? That's really it is. It's like, okay, hey, look, I'm moving. Hey, I'll be there in 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's really who got the goddamn friends that's about that life. So, and it's a snatch and grab. So it's like, I don't believe that a prenup is bad. I think that smart people do things to protect themselves in the long run. I don't think that you should go into the situation here, and this is crazy now, but it's almost like you're going into a new situation with an exit strategy. Is that smart? Is that smart? Is it smart to say, you know what, just in case I'm gonna have this shit for a rainy day? That's like having a gun in your house. Just in case. You know what I'm saying? Just in case. I'm gonna put my seatbelt on just in case some shit happen. So, I mean, hey, having a prenup may not be bad, but the thing about it is, I don't think we can be selfish with that information no more. I think that we need to have those conversations with the people that surround us, i.e. our children, when they're of age and they understand what a prenup is and why people actually use it. And stop saying this is a white thing, this is a black thing. Let's start looking at what's going to help us. It should be a help us thing. It should be something that we use to be beneficial towards us in our life, towards our tenants and our lineage. So, hey, this is Mario J. This is Tough Love. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, I said something that made sense. If you do, share it, leave some comments. Y'all have a blessed day. Adult up.